started as a local election. It is now a regional emergency. Tanzania's disputed polls have ignited a wave of protests stretching from Dar es Salaam to the Namanga border. Today, Kenya finds itself in the uncomfortable position of keeping its citizens out of another nation's revolution. What began as cries of democracy has turned into one of East Africa's most delicate political moments in years. At dawn, border patrol officers lined the Namanga crossing, helmets, shields, rifles in hand. Their mission? To stop a growing convoy of Kenyan youths determined to join Tanzanian protesters in defiance of a government warning.
Mama kweli hatumtaki. Mama lazima must go. Aondoke kabisa
madarakani kwa sababu hamna uchaguzi wa kumpigia mtu mmoja kura. Anajichagua mwenyewe. Hatuwezi mtikia Masamia mwenyewe kura. Ni watekaji.
Interior PS Raymond Omolo made it crystal clear, we have laws and Kenyans must follow them. Do not take part in cross-border demonstrations.
If there would be any inconveniences in terms of movement of cargo and people, I believe that the officers at our points of entry and exit must be able to advise those who are moving in a manner that then we don't endanger anyone's life.
Within hours, roadblocks appeared, motorbikes were turned back, and several young activists were briefly detained. Online, videos showed the chaos, flags waving, chants of solidarity with Tanzania fading as tear gas canisters popped in the background. Kenya's message was firm: solidarity stops at the border.
Yes, hero. Oh yeah. Yes.
Meanwhile, across the border, Dar es Salaam burned. 5 people are dead, according to human rights activist Tito Magoti, after police used live rounds to disperse demonstrators. Streets that once hosted campaign rallies now echo with gunfire and sirens. Tires burn, power flickers, and the city is tense. A portrait of frustration drawn in smoke.
It is sort of a coronation. So Samia is trying to reinstate herself in the reins of power without being elected by the people.
The protests erupted after opposition candidates Tundu Lissu and Luhaga Mpina were disqualified, leaving President Samia Suluhu Hassan virtually unchallenged. To many, it felt less like an election and more like an appointment. And while State TV maintains that peace has largely returned, social media paints a different picture, one of defiance, fear, and youth-driven outrage. Then came the moment that turned unrest into rebellion. On October 30th, young reporters reportedly hijacked a Tanzanian Electoral Commission vehicle carrying ballot materials. The act, caught on viral clips, wasn't just defiance, it was a statement. If the system won't listen, we'll make it listen.
Money. Hey.
It mirrors a rising Generation Z movement across Africa, one shaped by frustration, joblessness, and digital connectivity. Analysts say Tanzania's youth are no longer satisfied being spectators. They're rewriting the rules, one viral video at a time. This echoes Kenya's own Generation Z protests earlier this year. Same energy, same courage, same demand, accountability. For Kenya, the situation is a political tightrope. On one hand, many citizens feel empathy, a shared spirit of East African unity. On the other, the government fears importing instability. Sources in Nairobi confirmed that intelligence briefings warned of cross-border radicalization, prompting rapid deployment of GSU officers along Namanga. The move, though criticized by some activists, reflects Kenya's instinct for control in times of uncertainty. A local resident summed it up perfectly. We wanted to stand with our Tanzanian brothers, but the police said it is not our fight. Still, how can we watch them suffer and stay silent?
Tunataka serikali ya Tanzania ikome mara moja kutumia vikosi vya usalama kunyamazisha, kugandamiza na kuwaua Watanzania.
Immediate cessation of violence by Tanzanian security forces against unarmed civilians and unconditional release of all detained protesters and political prisoners.
There's many people who are working both to document all of the human rights violations that are happening in Tanzania at this time.
Our leaders are using our money to buy guns and weapons to kill our children.
The United States has issued a travel advisory for Tanzania. Diplomats are calling for calm. The African Union is silent. Meanwhile, President Samia's government insists the elections were free and fair. Even as curfews tightened and internet blackouts deepened, the tweets tell a different story, one of a nation demanding to be heard. The question now isn't just whether Tanzania stabilizes, it is whether East Africa can contain the political aftershocks. Every generation reaches a breaking point. For Tanzania, that point has arrived. For Kenya, it is a warning that political frustration knows no borders, and silence is never neutral.
Those were sham elections. It was Suluhu versus Samia. She was competing with her own shadow.
Ule uchaguzi uliofanyika uweze kupigwa marufuku kwa sababu haukuwa uchaguzi ambao wa Tanzania walikuwa wameshiriki.
This moment could redefine how East African states manage dissent, not just through security forces, but through empathy, diplomacy, and regional dialogue. Because when one neighbor burns, the smoke doesn't stop at the fence. The protests continue. The border remains sealed, but the conversation about democracy in East Africa has only just begun. For Maisha TV, I'm William Juma.